Good evening, dear listener. As the world outside grows still, the stars begin to twinkle, and the night wraps you in its gentle embrace. I invite you to find your coziest corner, perhaps under a soft blanket, with a pillow cradling your head, or simply resting where you feel most at peace. Let your breath slow, your shoulders relax, and your mind drift like a leaf on a calm river. Tonight, we're traveling to ancient Mesopotamia, a land of whispering rivers and blooming gardens, where a king built a wonder for his beloved queen. This is the story of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, told in soft, unhurried whispers, woven with the daily rhythms of life thousands of years ago. Picture the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flowing gently through golden plains, their waters reflecting the fading light of day. We'll meet King Nebuchadnezzar, his queen Amytis, a kind gardener named Enlil, and a thoughtful scribe called Ishtar, who all lived in this ancient world. Their lives were filled with simple joys, baking bread, tending plants, and sharing stories under starry skies. As we wander through their days, let the images of lush terraces and quiet courtyards lull you into tranquility. Close your eyes if you wish, breathe deeply, and let this tale carry you toward dreams as soft as a desert breeze. The past awaits us, ready to unfold like a scroll in the moonlight. Long ago, in the land we now call Iraq, Mesopotamia cradled humanity's first cities between the Tigris and Euphrates. Around 3000 BCE, the Sumerians settled here, building homes from sun-dried mud bricks that glowed warm in the dawn light. Imagine waking to the sound of roosters, as families like Enlil's, a young gardener, rose to fetch water in clay jars from the riverbank. Enlil would walk through fields of barley, checking the soil's softness, while his mother kneaded dough for flatbreads, their aroma filling the air as they baked in clay ovens. The rivers were the heartbeat of life, their gentle ripples nourishing crops of wheat and dates. Customs were simple, yet meaningful. Families placed clay figurines at small shrines, whispering prayers for health and harvest. Enlil, with his calloused hands, loved tending date palms, their sweet fruits collected in woven baskets. In the evenings, villagers gathered under a vast sky, sharing tales of gods and heroes, their voices blending with the hum of crickets. Markets buzzed softly with traders offering pottery painted with stars, or linens dyed in earthy reds. Children played with reed toys, laughing as they ran along irrigation canals. Life moved slowly, tied to the seasons. Spring brought blooming orchards, summer the hum of bees, autumn the gathering of nuts, and winter the warmth of firesides. Enlil dreamed of planting gardens that would make the gods smile, his heart as steady as the river's flow. As the stars emerged, the world felt safe, wrapped in the quiet rhythms of Mesopotamia's cradle. Let this peaceful image settle in your mind, guiding you closer to rest. As centuries flowed like the rivers, Mesopotamia blossomed under new empires, Akkadian, Babylonian, Assyrian, each adding richness to its story. By the 6th century BCE, Babylon was a shining city, its markets alive with gentle energy. Picture Ishtar, our scribe, walking through crowded stalls, her reed stylus tucked into her robe. Merchants offered spices like cumin, their scent mingling with freshly woven textiles in indigo and saffron hues. Pottery, glazed with patterns of lions and stars, caught the morning light. Ishtar recorded trades on clay tablets, pressing her cylinder seal, a tiny carving of a gazelle, into soft clay to mark her work. This was a forgotten custom, sealing promises like whispers in time. The city hummed with life. Artisans hammered gold into earrings, while boatmen navigated reed guffas along shallow canals. Temples, or ziggurats, loomed like stepped mountains, where priests burned sesame oil, its fragrance drifting skyward. Ishtar often paused to watch the stars, noting their paths for priests who saw omens in their dance. Festivals filled the air with music, lyres and flutes playing softly as people shared barley beer and dates. Daily life was a tapestry of small joys, children chasing hoops, mothers weaving baskets, fathers tending sesame fields. The rivers brought silt each year, turning the land green with figs and pomegranates. Ishtar's heart swelled with pride for her city, its harmony a gift from the gods. As you imagine her quiet steps through the market, let the bustle fade into a soothing hum, carrying you toward calm. In the time of King Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon became a jewel of the ancient world, its walls wide enough for chariots to pass. Nebuchadnezzar, a thoughtful ruler, loved his city and its people. Picture his palace, where courtyards opened to the sky, vines climbing sun-warmed walls, and fountains trickled like soft lullabies. Each morning, the royal family, including Queen Amytis, shared meals of lentil stew flavored with garlic, seated on cushions around low tables. Servants like Enlil, now a palace gardener, tended rose beds, their petals soft as silk. Daily life was orderly. Scribes like Ishtar wrote laws inspired by Hammurabi, etched on clay for fairness. The processional way, lined with blue-glazed bricks of lions, led to festivals for Marduk, where Nebuchadnezzar led quiet processions, incense wafting. Amytis, from the green hills of Media, brought her own customs, braiding her hair with jasmine, a flower of her homeland. She missed its misty valleys, but found solace in Babylon's warmth. Enlil would bring her pomegranates, bowing shyly, while Ishtar recorded the king's decrees, her stylus steady. Evenings were for storytelling, with tales of creation sung to harp melodies. The city slept under a blanket of stars, its people content in their routines, baking, weaving, praying. The rivers flowed on, nourishing the land, their gentle ripples a reminder of life's steady pulse. Let this serene rhythm wrap around you, easing you into peace. Nebuchadnezzar loved Amytis deeply, seeing her longing for Media's green hills. To bring her joy, he dreamed of a garden unlike any other, a mountain of greenery rising in Babylon's plains. The hanging gardens began as a whisper of love, built with care by hands like Enlil's. Workers laid mud bricks sealed with bitumen, forming terraces that climbed like steps to the sky. Enlil, now skilled, planted cedars and willows, their roots sinking into deep soil beds. Clever irrigation, perhaps bucket chains turned by hand, lifted Euphrates water to the top, letting it flow down in gentle streams. Amytis would visit, her face brightening as she touched the leaves, reminiscent of her homeland. Daily tasks included Enlil pruning branches with bronze shears, while water glistened like stars in the sunlight. Customs honored nature, planting seeds during the new moon for luck, or offering first fruits to the gods. Ishtar recorded the garden's progress, noting each tree's growth like a poet. The terraces bloomed with roses and ivy, their scents mingling with damp earth. Amytis walked shaded paths, her steps soft on stone, feeling at home. Nebuchadnezzar watched her, his heart full, knowing his gift had woven their worlds together. The gardens were a paradise, a quiet haven where time seemed to pause. As you picture this lush retreat, let its calm wash over you, softening your thoughts. The hanging gardens stood as a wonder, their terraces alive with greenery. Imagine walking with Amytis along shaded paths, vines of grapes and ivy trailing like curtains, swaying in the breeze. Water channels murmured softly, nourishing beds of lilies and poppies, their colors bright against green leaves. Enlil worked daily, tending trees with care, his hands dusted with soil as he planted hyacinths. Birds nested in branches, their songs a gentle chorus at dawn. The air was sweet with rose and earth, a perfume that calmed the soul. Customs here were ancient. Gardeners like Enlil sprinkled water on plants as offerings, believing it pleased the gods. Amytis loved the cool mist from fountains, sitting on stone benches to watch the sunset paint the terraces gold. Nebuchadnezzar joined her for quiet evenings, sharing date wine from clay cups, while musicians played harps, their notes floating like petals. Ishtar, ever observant, sketched the gardens in cuneiform, describing their beauty for future scribes. Families visited, marveling at the tears, children running under canopies of leaves. The gardens were a paradise, or paradisu, a place of peace reflecting divine order. Each morning, Enlil swept paths, ensuring they gleamed, while Amytis dreamed of her homeland, her heart lighter. The world below continued, rivers flowing, stars rising, but here, time felt soft, like a lullaby. Let this garden's tranquility cradle you, easing you toward rest. The hanging gardens captured hearts beyond Babylon, their fame spreading like ripples on water. Greek writers, far across the sea, wove tales of their splendor, though they never saw them. Strabo described terraces rising like a theater, plants hanging over edges, a floating forest in the desert. Diodorus spoke of vast platforms, groves shading lovers' walks. Some linked the gardens to Queen Semiramis, a mythical ruler of wisdom, said to have built them for beauty's sake. Ishtar, our scribe, heard these tales from traders, smiling as she wrote her own truths. In Babylon, myths were part of life, stories of gods shaping the world from clay, teaching harmony with nature. Amytis loved these tales, sharing them with Enlil as they rested under cedar trees. Customs included reciting epics at dusk, families gathered around lamps, their flames flickering like stars. Enlil, tending vines, believed the gardens held magic, a gift from Marduk. Nebuchadnezzar, practical yet proud, saw them as love's monument, not myth. The terraces were a haven, where breezes carried scents of jasmine, and water's gentle flow soothed all who walked there. Ishtar's tablets preserved these moments, her words a bridge to eternity. As whispers of the gardens spread, they became a symbol of paradise, inspiring poets and dreamers. Picture their soft beauty, and let it guide your thoughts to peace. The garden's true place in history is a gentle mystery, like a half-remembered dream. Tradition sets them in Babylon, near Nebuchadnezzar's palace by the Euphrates, but time has softened their traces. No ruins clearly mark their spot, perhaps floods carried them away. Some scholars whisper of Nineveh, where King Sennacherib built terraces watered by aqueducts. Enlil, if he lived there, would have marveled at canals stretching over valleys, feeding orchards of figs. Ishtar might have recorded Sennacherib's feats, her tablets noting water's path. Excavations at Babylon reveal the Ishtar Gate, its blue tiles gleaming with dragons, a path where Amytis once walked. In Nineveh, stone reliefs show banquets under vines, kings like Nebuchadnezzar reclining with queens. Daily life included customs like planting trees in cosmic patterns, mirroring stars. Enlil swept paths with reeds, their shade cooling the air. Ishtar studied omens, noting birds' flights for priests. The rivers tied both cities, their waters sustaining life. Whether in Babylon or Nineveh, the gardens were a vision of love, their memory preserved in clay and story. Imagine their quiet terraces, and let their mystery lull you into calm. The hanging gardens left a legacy soft as a whisper, shaping dreams across time. Their idea of paradise, a paradisu, inspired Persian gardens, Islamic courtyards, and even modern planters in quiet homes. Nebuchadnezzar's love for Amytis became a tale of devotion told by firesides. Enlil, now old, taught young gardeners to nurture trees, passing on customs of planting with the moon's phases. Ishtar's tablets, buried in archives, held stories of the terrace's beauty, read by later scribes under lamplight. Daily life continued, markets hummed, rivers flowed, children laughed under date palms. Festivals honored the harvest, with lamps of sesame oil glowing in homes. Amytis, in her later years, sat in the gardens, her heart full, watching stars emerge. Nebuchadnezzar joined her, their hands entwined, content in their creation. The gardens were more than stone and soil. They were a symbol of bringing green to arid lands, of love shaping earth. Their influence lingers in every garden where flowers bloom, every quiet moment by a fountain. As you imagine Enlil's gentle pruning, Ishtar's careful writing, and Amytis' serene walks, let the garden's peace envelop you, softening your thoughts into dreams. As our journey through ancient Mesopotamia draws to a close, let your mind linger on the hanging gardens, their terraces fading into the mist of time. Picture the Euphrates flowing gently, its waters catching starlight, carrying the dreams of Nebuchadnezzar, Amytis, Enlil, and Ishtar. The gardens were a gift of love, a place where vines whispered of peace, and fountains sang lullabies. Their story lives in the quiet beauty of nature, every tree planted, every flower blooming in a quiet corner. Imagine Enlil resting under a cedar, his work done, or Ishtar setting down her stylus, her words eternal. Amytis and Nebuchadnezzar, hand in hand, watch the moon rise, their hearts at rest. The rivers still wind through the land, their ripples a reminder of life's gentle flow. Across centuries, the garden's legacy whispers to us, find joy in small things, like the scent of roses or the sound of water. As you drift toward sleep, Let these images wrap around you. Starry skies, soft leaves, and the calm of a world long past. The night is here, ready to cradle you in its arms. Let go of the day, let your breath slow, and sink into dreams as peaceful as a Babylonian night. Good night, dear listener, and sweet dreams.